Sup everyone, this is Draco Evolve. Tottenham Hotspur 1, Manchester United 1. That was the final score, and this is my match review. Just as I have predicted, I did predict on my yesterday's video, in my match preview, that it's going to end 1-1, and it has ended 1-1. So let's go through a little bit of what happened overall in the game. I felt that overall United in the first half were very lackluster. They treated it more like a friendly match in my opinion. Spurs looked compact, disciplined, and was planning to hit us a lot on the counter-attack. This is exactly what United have been doing under Oli in the last few games. Now, in terms of the lineups, so if I go through the lineups here, I did kind of say in my predicted lineup that Luke Shaw, instead of Luke Shaw, Brandon Williams is going to be there. And in terms of Fred, we are going to see Paul Pogba. Unfortunately, Paul Pogba did not start the game. Initially, he did come on the 60th minute. Now, in terms of the first goal, man, Bergwijn, I don't know how to pronounce his name. He has absolutely, it was a belter of a goal, but there was a couple of mistakes leading up to it. First of all, Luke Shaw heading the ball forward and running towards it. Clearly not a very good thing to do. His decision making wasn't that great in that sense, and he has come under fire, especially from Jose Mourinho when he mentioned his decision making. And then we have a world-class, well, supposedly world-class centre-back who got absolutely skinned by Bergwijn before smashing the ball into De Gea. Now, in my opinion, De Gea should have done better than this, and he has made a lot of mistakes this season and over the last couple of years, in my opinion. And to be honest, what Roy Keane has said in the match, halftime, is absolutely right. He was absolutely furious with the team. De Gea, to call De Gea a bit overrated, I think is a bit too harsh, but De Gea for me has not been performing, has been on decline actually last couple of years. This season he's made, I think, equaling 11 sort of mistakes by himself in leading up to a goal in the whole of the Premier League, which does show a lot of things in regards to what he's feeling like mentally. In my opinion, De Gea has dropped down the pecking order in terms of goalkeeping. I don't think he's even the second best keeper in the league. And, he should be kind of disappointed in himself. And how many times have we actually said that across the whole of this season? Obviously, he's got probably one eye on Dean Henderson, what he is doing. But that's the first goal, sort of what happened. And the first half was very lackluster, as I said, for Manchester United. It was painful to watch at times. We've waited a lot of days, 100 days precisely, for United to come in and play. And we were presented with that. Come the second half, still a bit of the same. However, the introduction of Paul Pogba has totally changed the game. Now, I was disappointed that Paul Pogba didn't start. I do understand that Fred and McTominay has been on great form, especially Fred before the lockdown. Look, I do understand that, but quality and the world-class stature of a Paul Pogba next to Bruno Fernandes was always on the cards for many managers. I felt that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer made a mistake in that sense, because as soon as Paul Pogba came on, the link up between Pogba and Bruno Fernandes, you can see it instantly. Spurs did not know who to mark. Initially in the first half, they knew who to mark. Bruno Fernandes, he didn't do that very well in the first half, in my opinion. But second half, it was pretty much the Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes show, wasn't it? And in my opinion, you just see how Pogba wins the penalty for Bruno Fernandes, making it 1-1. And what a penalty, by the way, sending the keeper the wrong way and smashing it home with pace, direction, and power and composure, of course. But in overall, the second half was much better by Manchester United. I don't believe that Fred should start the next game, in my opinion. I think from what we've seen in the 30 minutes that Paul Pogba has been on the field, I think Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes can be a devastating midfield partnership, and I reckon that could be the case going forward in the next match. Looking at the defenders, look, the centre-backs didn't have much to do. I think Harry Kane was very, very tired. You can see that visibly towards the end. The pairing didn't do much to, although Lindelof did go off injured. Replaced by McTominay, and who was eventually replaced by Eric Bailly. Now, I've had a lot of people tell me that we do not need another centre-back. I genuinely believe we need another centre-back. Look, outside of Maguire and Lindelof, there is no other centre-back that is consistently free or available or has the quality to play. Outside of these two, we have Tuanzebe, who's injured half the time. He's injured again. And we have Eric Bailly, who's an absolute monster in my opinion, but he's injury prone. And we have a Phil Jones. I do believe that another centre-back, possibly a world-class centre-back next to Harry Maguire, could tweak a little bit with Lindelof getting rotational gameplay. I do believe Lindelof is still young and he can still develop, but for the time being, especially when you're chasing the top four and potentially chasing trophies, I don't believe Lindelof is at a stage in his career where he can solidify himself in the centre back position. Midfield, as I said, we talked about the midfield enough, but up front, I felt it was very disappointing to see Dan James perform. I think he is tired. I don't think he should be a starter. I reckon Mason Greenwood coming in and having a huge impact straight away as soon as he's come on, especially the end, almost a goal towards the end, shows that we are begging for a world class or a better, technically astute right winger as opposed to a one-trick pony like Daniel James. Great kid, I understand, great kid, but not United quality for starting 11 week in, week out. Anthony Martial, he had a couple of chances. I think the first chance he had, he should have scored from that. I think with game fitness and sharpness, I think he would have let that ball, get out of his feet quicker. But in the straight after that, I think Lloris did make a wonderful save to deny Anthony Martial. But aside from those two chances, I felt sorry for Anthony Martial. He didn't get much, he didn't touch the ball many times. And speaking about Rashford, again, I don't think he was very good this game. I think with the whole of what he's done recently has been fantastic. I think the whole of the pressure and the spotlight around the world maybe has taken a bit of a toll. He did look a lot rusty. That could be a possibility where game time is needed for him. But I think the front three didn't perform that very well up until Paul Pogba has come on and combining with Bruno Fernandes. That's my overall take on the match. That's what I felt generally in the match. Let's have a look at a bit of a stats. Stats-wise, as you can see, it's 1-1. That's the most important scoreline. But in terms of the stats, you can see United have had a lot of the possession. Towards the end, Spurs kind of, I reckon, played for the draw. They were trying to hit us on the counter-attack. I think they did look very, very tired towards the end. And that's a testament to United. I think towards the second half, especially towards the end, we came alive. Especially the substitution change with Pogba and Greenwood coming on. I felt that we were more in control. There was a bit of a oomph to our play, a build-up play, some intricate passes across the line. And I have to, give a big shout-out to Paul Pogba. I think one of the passes where he played a 30-yard pass on a half volley onto Marcus Rashford. Rashford was, what a fantastic touch. He was through momentarily, but I think Davinson Sanchez, can't remember who it was, who just ran, who's a pacey defender himself, caught up with him. I think any other defender with the half a second pace lack, which a lot of the defenders are, I think Rashford was through there one-on-one with the goalkeeper. We did win a second half, late in the second half penalty, but it was overturned by the VAR, and rightly so in my opinion. But you can see by the stats, the possession-wise, we dominated in the end. Spurs looked very tired. They had pretty much everyone behind the ball trying to hit us on the counter-attack, but didn't really quite work out for them. Let's have a look at what it means for the table. So currently, this is the latest table. Sheffield United still have a game in hand. They still have to play. If they win their game in hand, they go 1 point ahead of us with the exclusive spot, the all-important 5th spot, assuming that Man City will get banned from the Champions League and the 5th position will get the Champions League. It's very important that United get that 5th spot as a minimum, because Chelsea, looking at what they are doing, look, if they win the next game, I think they will go ahead by quite a margin. It could be difficult to catch them. So it's the 5th position that needs to be grasped and really solidify. And I think with the quality of the teams below us, with all due respect to Sheffield United and Wolves, I think this 5th position is for us to take. I don't believe Sheffield United will have enough energy towards their running. I do feel that them coming to Old Trafford next week, I think United will do them over. But it is advantage Sheffield United, as you can see They have a game in hand, 2 points behind us. With a win, they can go 1 point ahead of us. And lo and behold, if they go and beat us at Old Trafford, they will go 4 points ahead of us, which will mean danger for everything. Look, it's not just Sheffield United. You can see Wolves there. They're just 3 points behind us. They can go level on points with us. So a lot to play for in the last, roughly 8-9 games for everyone else, roughly. And I think what I did predict is it was going to be 1-1 in my match preview. I didn't believe that United was going to get away with the victory. Look, Mourinho is a masterclass in planning. He's been planning this match, I reckon, for months now, and he almost played out the perfect game. I think being the first game back after 3-4 months out of no action, you can see a lot of the players were tired outside, especially the Spurs players. And I think over the next couple of games, as players kind of get used to the routine and the football comes back into their legs and their brain, I think we're going to see a lot more quality games towards the end of the season. This seemed like pretty much a first game of the season after every summer, right? It was like sharpness wasn't there. The mentality was set, but it couldn't be executed by both teams, in my opinion. I reckon that if Oli kind of took a risk and Pogba and Bruno Fernandes from the start, I think we would have made a huge difference. Fair play to Oli. I understand that Fred has been on fantastic form and he does deserve to start just because Paul Pogba has come in and kind of thinking, oh, Paul Pogba is world class, he should start anyway. Fair play to him, and I do agree with that, and I have said that in many of the discussions I had over podcast sessions and with friends, and it's not going to be fair on someone like Fred to be playing so well. Suddenly Paul Pogba's feet, Fred dropped to the bench, right? It doesn't do well for the image of the club, nor it will do well for Fred, Fred's mentality. But Fred hasn't had a great game today alongside McTominay, in my opinion, and Pogba coming on for Fred was the right choice. And it just reiterates that this is the first game back. It does look, football is back, but it's not really back. Give it a couple of games more, and I think it will see the Premier League sort of kicking off. 3-4 months break, it does take a little bit of a toll. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree what Roy Keane had to say during the halftime talk? Do you feel that De Gea is past his best? Do you feel that from now on, Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes should be a staple starting players going forward? And most importantly for me, do you feel Dan James should not be starting games, instead be used as an impact player and let someone like Mason Greenwood start the game, who's got a lot more than just pace, in my opinion, to do a hell of a lot damage? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, I'll catch you guys in the next upload, and stay fun.